The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS.
Alright, the Canucks preseason is nearly in the books, and it hasn't been without a few surprises. We're going to rank the biggest of those surprises for you next here on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, your co-host here on Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer over at Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we get into this episode jam-packed of preseason storylines, talk about the final cuts, I gotta say, go make sure you subscribe to Locked On Canucks on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts for free. But you'll get mine, and you get mine and Kyle's love on top of that. How about that, okay? How about them apples? On the episode today, I want to rank the biggest surprises from the Canucks preseason because there's definitely a few things that happened that most of us did not see coming. And also want to talk about the Canucks cuts that they made recently, but more importantly, who's going to be the final cut. But first and foremost, one guy who is never, ever getting cut from Locked On Canucks, at least while I'm here, Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I like that, man. I love the support. I love the cosign. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. I love the people too, right? I love the people tuning in, watching, listening, and leaving us comments. Hey, speaking of comments, okay, I'm going to piss people off here. I'm not going to have time to do Komment Korner today, okay? I know that's on the itinerary to the side, but me and Trevor never talked about that earlier. He made the screen that you're looking at right now. I'm not going to have time to edit that in, okay? If we want to get this up at 4:20 and keep that promise, it is what it is. We'll do something else at the last segment. We'll surprise you. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll surprise you, okay? It's going to save me 20 minutes of editing, and it's going to get this episode up on time. That being said, we do still love you, even though we're forgetting about you today. It is what it is. Hey, speaking about forgetting about things, okay? Are the Canucks going to forget about Podkolzin in a couple months? Straight up, are they going to forget about Jack Rathbone tomorrow? I know he got sent down, but we're just, it's a different time in life. You know, a couple years ago, we're looking at the prospect pool. We're probably looking at those two players, and we're thinking, okay, there's something there. We're going to see those guys make the team, and they're really far away from making this team. They just got sent down over the weekend. Some other surprises happened. It's been a whirlwind, yo. It's really been a whirlwind as a Vancouver Canucks fan lately.
Seriously, man. And, talking about Podkolzin, where does he rank among the biggest preseason surprises, him being cut and him not performing well? Do you think that's the biggest surprise of the Canucks preseason, Kyle?
I think it is, because going into September, we're projecting these lineups. We're talking about JT Miller and Podkolzin, and we're thinking about best case scenario for this team, right? Now, this team, if they want to take the next step, everything has to go right. We've been saying it, all the little things have to go right. Rutherford said everything has to go right. And that was one of those things. It really was. Seeing Podkolzin not only make the team, again, which he's had the last 2 years, but taking an actual step and believing in the offseason that he had would somehow translate into, again, him being closer and closer to this potential. And this Canucks organization needs somebody like that in that age group to really take a leap, to really help this team get over, not the hump. We're not talking about the hump here. We're talking about them getting closer and closer to relevancy. And it does kind of hurt. But at the same time, if you're being realistic about things, just based on the way he's been playing and being showcased, and you kind of look at how he did last year as well, the Canucks are a better team without him on the lineup. It's just the truth.
The Canucks are a better team with Nils Amon and Jack Studnicka on the roster instead of Vasily Podkolzin, eh? Oh, man.
Don't you think I'm right, though? How about
okay.
But, like, you look at a guy like PDG, right? We're talking at Studnicka, right? I know it's early, and it's crazy for me to say this. I never thought I was going to say this, but everything needs to go right. And I think for that to happen, we were equating that to like skilled guys like Podkolzin and Höglander really taking the next step, right? But if they're clearly not showing the compete, well, Höglander is to some extent, but Podkolzin, the compete is not even in there. Like, his head's not in the right place. That guy's got to get out the lineup. That's not good for culture. It's not good for culture. You need guys who are going to tap in every game and do their best. And I know it's the preseason, but those two guys that I just mentioned, they're skating hard. They're making their presence felt by covering ground. Maybe not the most skilled players, but again, they're doing the most, and that adds to the culture. You're bringing something to the table, and there's no one's allowed to coast on this team. Again, everything has to go right? So again, the Canucks are a better team without Podkolzin.
Yeah, which is crazy to say. And Kyle, I know you said that was the biggest surprise of the preseason. I'll tell you right now. So I wrote about this this morning for Daily Hive, the 7 biggest surprises from the Canucks preseason. And Podkolzin came in firmly at second on the list for me because we haven't talked about the biggest preseason surprise. And that is Mr. Cole McWard playing alongside Quinn Hughes on your Canucks top pairing. I mean, I think people didn't want to predict it, but I think it could have been a possibility that Podkolzin got sent to the AHL. Like going into preseason, maybe this guy is not up to snuff compared with the rest of the forwards. New baby, life's a little bit hectic. But Cole McWard playing on Quinn Hughes' pairing, I don't think anyone saw that coming. This guy had 5 games of NHL experience. He just turned 22 years old. I think most figured that he would be on in the AHL for at least a year, right? People were talking about Akito Hirose, who's 2 years older, but him possibly cracking the Canucks full time. Akito Hirose was everyone's roster dark horse. No one had Cole McWard penciled in to the opening night lineup. And not only does Cole McWard look like he'll be in the opening night lineup, but it looks like he's going to start the season alongside Quinn Hughes. I mean, there's usually 1 or 2 crazy storylines at Canucks preseason. Huglander from a couple of years back, even going back to, Hudden and McCann. And usually there's something is my point, but this one has to be up there on the WTF list. Cole McWard and 5 games of NHL experience skating alongside Quinn Hughes on the top pairing. I'll ask you, Kyle, how you feeling about that heading into the season?
Well, I'm going to throw it right back at you pretty quickly here, okay? Because I think you're more of the Cole McWard analyzer on the program, right? You got to give people the truth. I want to say this, though, and correct me if I'm wrong. Did we only see 1 game of Akito Hirose?
Yep. He only played in the Canucks preseason game against the Flames.
And they lost 10-0. And Pocket, and I'm paraphrasing because I think J-Pat was somewhat paraphrasing too, but Talkett alluded to the fact that they wanted more out of Hirose's fitness levels going into the season. And maybe he's fit, but maybe he's not as big as the team wanted him to be.
Yeah, and I think he was listed at 6 foot 170, right? Which is pretty slight. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, and I'm like 5'9", 165.
Hey, okay. On that note, Beggsy's talking too much ish about himself. Okay, look at those biceps. If you're a YouTube viewer, it's happening. Okay, at the end of this episode, we're only gonna do it on YouTube. At the very end, we're gonna show you the truth. Did Kyle and Trevor Beggs get to 100 push-ups? Did we do it? Because again, we're honest people, and we're holding the boys accountable, right? You guys got to show up fit. And our goal was to show up fit too. Did we get to 100 push-ups together? We're going to show you at the end of the episode, okay? So, Trevor, be nicer to yourself. Akito, can you do as many push-ups as Trevor Beggs can do in a row? Who knows? Now, let's go back to Cole McWard, though, on some real shit. Because I want to know. I watched him play on Saturday, watched a little bit of him in previous games. Like, I see some of the poise, but I also see, like, some blatant inconsistencies in his game. Like, blatant. And he's got to really pick it up this week if he really wants to lock down that spot, because I feel as if there's still a strong chance that either one of those veterans get a chance with Quinn Hughes. And I know it may be out of line based on who they're addressing in the preseason together. Like, oh, now you're going to put Carson Soucy with Quinn Hughes, even though they didn't get a lot of reps together. Dude, you got to do what you got to do, because he's probably, if it means that he's going to be a lot better than Cole McWard. Because again, those inconsistencies are there. Aren't they? Like, what's the good and what's the bad based on what you've seen from Cole McWard?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of, this is going to sound kind of contradictory, because I do think he does a good job of gap control and kind of being close to his net, not taking too many risks. But that being said, he's been kind of over aggressive in terms of just taking penalties and sloppy penalties at that. So that being said, I see people calling him out for his penalties, and I get it. It's a young guy. It's preseason hockey. But I do think the fundamentals are there for Cole Ward to be a solid NHL defenseman. It's just so early in his career, but like I said, I think he skates well. I think he's got good poise. I think he moves the puck fairly well. And I just think among the contenders at right D, he's played the most mistake-free, which sounds crazy to say, because like you said, he hasn't been perfect. But has he been better than Tyler Myers? Yeah. Has he been better than Noah Juleson? Yeah. Has he been better than Jet Wu? Yeah. So if you want a right-side guy, Cole McWard has played the cleanest hockey of any of them. Again, not an all-star list by any means, but even the guys who've contended at as left shot defenders playing the right side, like Matt Irwin, Carson Soucy. Like they've had very uneven preseasons too. So I get it. It's preseason. It's early on. But I think there is enough there to like from Cole McWard to think that he can at least be better than the contenders at the position. Again, this is an indictment on the Canucks and their roster building that they have freaking Cole McWard and his 5 NHL games of experience paired alongside Quinn Hughes. But this is where we are right now, and
Dude, I can't believe it.
I do think I would argue that he might be the best choice there. I personally want to see it work with Soucy, but if Soucy can't move the puck and play the right side, then it's got to fall on McWard, I think.
Yeah, and it's got to. I know this season matters so much, and there's really not that much room to be comfortable with mistakes being a part of the season. But if you feel as if you're getting similar type of production with Cole McWard playing on his side versus Carson Soucy not playing on his side, the benefit to playing McWard with Hughes is some possible development in his game and getting a player out of Cole that you didn't think you had, and him, gaining some confidence, not just with games played, but being, alongside one of the best players in the NHL. And Quinn Hughes, I think you got to put this guy as one of your biggest surprises in the preseason as well, because he looks really good. And he's always been really, really good. But he's taken another step, I believe, because of the amount of accountability that he's taking on the ice and off the ice. And let's focus on what he's doing on the ice, and he's shooting the puck a lot more. So that's a different level of accountability. If you're like, yo, my team really needs me, and I'm just going to shoot the puck more. I'm going to make some magic happen. I'm going to shoot the puck 10 times more, because I think that's what we're going to get from Quinn Hughes this year. Like, he's going to shoot the puck a lot more, and I think it's going to translate to more goals. It's pretty obvious, I know. It's not rocket science, but I feel as if he really did put it on himself to develop a better shot this offseason. And, bro, he may be my favorite Canuck. I had Pettersson as number 1, but Quinn Hughes, he's really making a case for, again, being everyone's favorite Canuck this season.
Yeah, I agree. And on the other side, maybe I'll tell you who my favorite Canuck is. And on the other side, we will get into more of the preseason surprises and talk about who's going to be the final cut from the Canucks roster. I will say quickly before break, I'm not all that surprised by Quinn Hughes scored a few more goals and shooting the puck more, because I expect this guy to get better. This guy's got ice in his veins. He's gotten better every season, especially, overall, right? He just had some defensive lapses and bad partners, but the guy is just an absolute stud. So I've said it on this program before. Every day is no. Like I see this guy pushing 100 points at some point in his NHL career. But on the other side, we're going to talk about some guys who probably aren't going to push 100 points, but one of them's got to make the Canucks roster, okay? We're going to talk about final cuts and more preseason surprises. But first, Kyle, I got to tell you, man, despite me trying to do a few push-ups the other day, it's tough, man, because this kid life has got me short on sleep. It is harder to work out and eat healthy like I used to once upon a time. That's why I have a hard time living without my AG1 in the morning, baby. Hey. Since I've been drinking AG1, I've noticed an overall feeling of sustained energy, support for my mental clarity, and focus. And hey, I need that to bring you the goods here on Locked On Canucks. AG1, they use a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients. That's science, baby. Kyle, guess what? You and I, we're over the 30 mark. I know that you and I need a product like AG1 to keep us feeling like we're only 29. And guess what? It only costs us less than $3 per day to stay healthy and stay young. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs. So baby, you get that with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out.
People, before we get back to the show, baby, I gotta tell you that new episodes of Locked On Canucks will be available wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all, okay? New episodes every day at 4:20 p.m. Again, wherever you stream podcasts and on YouTube. Let's get back to the show. Okay. We back on Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. I say this often because even though we do this every day, we're just normal people, normal fans. It always takes me 10 minutes to get into the week of Locked On Canucks. So this second segment, I'm bringing the heat. I'm warmed up. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And no, I did not pop a Cialis. That's not why I'm feeling it. Even though I'm 30 and I should probably be doing that, okay? It just takes me a while to get warmed up. It is what it is.
I did see a comment on one of our videos of the day saying asking us to stop talking about boner pills. And you know what I gotta say is that I'm talking to my brother here. I know you're listening to this conversation. We appreciate you for it, but I'm talking to my brother Kyle Bhawan. We gotta get this stuff off our chest, man. We're getting old, okay? Like I said in the ad read, we need our AG1.
There you go, man.
And maybe
happens, man. Sometimes I just open my mouth up and things just come out, and I'm trying to make sense of the world through Trevor Beggs and this program, okay? Locked On Canucks, your team every day. I don't know why I started thinking about this, Trevor, but I realized this, okay? Do you think, and this is kind of sad, this might go into a dark place, because again, you know, with Podkolzin being sent down, and then you're kind of like, okay, that didn't work out, and now we have like this question mark at our top pairing position, right, with Quinn Hughes. And I was like, okay, is this year going to be the same as last year? Like, you know, what's going on? What's going on? And then we emphasize the importance of Quinn Hughes getting better. And it's like, okay, the only reason this team's going to do good this year is because everyone's going to stay healthy and their top guys are going to be like some of the top guys in the whole league. And that's not sustainable for like a whole long playoff run, but is that enough for them to gain some confidence and win some games and instill like a different level of culture in the building? Where am I going with this? I'm going here, okay? So my dad's been a Raiders fan for his whole life. In the last 25 plus years or whatever have been so sad. 20 years, that's a long time. You and I are on what, like year 10 or 11 of the Canucks sucking? Canucks sucking,
like
right?
That, yeah.
So, like, imagine that. Imagine they suck for another 10 years. You get what I'm saying? And I think my dad's life, he's lived a blessed life, you know, live and breathe in family and whatnot, got a good dog on him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's that guy, but his life is definitely worse because the Raiders suck. You ever think about that? Like what if the Canucks suck 10 years from now still?
Yeah, you know, you need other things to fulfill your life, right? You can't be your happiness cannot be hitched to the Vancouver Canucks being successful. Like, you know, sports is fun and all. We love the Canucks. You know, I'm pissed off when they lose, but you need other outlets in life. It can't all just be about, oh, if the Canucks don't win, I'm gonna be miserable for a week, because that's no way to live your life, you know. Like, even that's why I cheer for other teams, man. Like, you know, my Seahawks, shout out to Seattle Seahawks. You know, they're playing some good football. They got those Legion of Boom documentaries out, so they're keeping me entertained as well, and my family, and you know, they do a good job of keeping me happy too. You know, the Canucks, though, they win or lose, man. Especially right now in preseason, they are keeping me entertained, right? And I did talk about the two biggest surprises, which is McWard with Hughes and Podkolzin being cut. We kind of touched on a few other ones, but let's rip through the rest of my list, and then let's end on who we think is going to be the final cut, because part of the surprises does have to do with the cuts the Canucks made. But we kind of talked about some of them briefly, but number 3 on my list in terms of surprises was Jack Studnicka and Nils Aman forcing their way onto the roster. Yeah. And number 4 was they did it at the expense of Dakota Joshua, among others. So I think with Studnicka is a big surprise for sure, because I think we'd all written him off. You know, he honestly looked lost with the Canucks last season. Wasn't physical, wasn't handling the puck well, playing sloppy, wasn't putting up points. I think he was just a write-off. He was kind of in the same category as Sheldon Dries for me. Just not going to make this team. But, you know, credit to him. He came in great shape. You know, he was pumping some iron. He was doing some push-ups. And so he's forced his way on this roster. And Nils Aman, very similar. So Rick Talk had mentioned that among all Canucks, Nils Aman was probably top 3 in fitness testing, which is interesting because one of the guys who Aman's playing ahead of Dakota Joshua, right? So everyone expected Joshua to be playing ahead of Aman, but Aman came in camp in better shape, you know? And lo and behold, this guy's playing on the wing. And I think it's a surprise too, because, you know, with Pius Suter and Teddy Bluger here, I think most of us assume that Nils Aman had just been pushed out of the lineup. But this guy didn't take no for an answer, came into camp. He's making it work on the wing, came in great shape. So, you know, it's a surprise to me that Aman and Studnicka are on the 4th line instead of like Podkolzin and Joshua, but here we are, man.
Yeah, and like I think I'm gonna go back to that quote that we keep talking about, right? Like everything needs to go right, and there's something just so not sexy about Nils Aman, right? And you're kind of
or Jack Studnicka, really.
Even him, and you're kind of just seeing those names and not even connecting them with the Vancouver Canucks. You're immediately going to Abbotsford. And you made a good note about Teddy Bluger and Pius Suter signing with the Vancouver Canucks, and how, and I think we mentioned this on one of those episodes, how, you know, this organization couldn't afford to just hand the spot over to Nils Aman because those bottom 6 positions matter too much. Like everyone has to be bought in and there has to be a fight for it. And to see a guy like Niels Amon still show up to camp in the best shape of his life and be in the top 3 amongst all the Canucks players and somehow pave a way for himself to be on the team. Dude, as journeymen ourselves, like you and I are the definitions of journeymen in this game called Canucks media. Yo, we got to applaud that. Now, is that going to make us a better team? Or is this just a feel-good preseason story? Dude, I still have question marks about that because I feel as if, and we kind of seen it from Dakota post Tocchet calling him out. Like he's maybe doesn't have like that complete game, and maybe that has something to do with him being a little bit out of shape, but at least he brings something else to the table. Like the last 2 games, he's laying the body, you know? He's laying the body. Who else is laying the body? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. So does Niels Amon make us a better team? I don't know. Do they need Dakota Joshua to, do the most in the next 2 games for them to have something different in their bottom 6? And does that equate to this team being more full? I think so. So I'm kind of rooting, even though I love the story of Niels Amon, I'm still rooting for Dakota Joshua to take a spot here in the last 2 games.
Yeah. And honestly, I think it's possible. I think you responded really well after being called out after the Canucks first preseason game and being called out for not coming to camp in the best shape. I mean, I think Niels Amon has looked capable as a 4th-line winger, but Dakota Joshua's upside is bigger, and he's way more physical. Like, he was absolutely laying the body.
And how many goals did he score last year? How many goals did he score last year? 11? 10?
Yeah, I think it was 11. Wasn't quite the 20, but that's the thing. Tocchet obviously thinks really highly of Joshua, right? Like, telling me in the scrum that he thinks Joshua could score 20 goals. Like, that was one of my biggest WTF moments of last season, So, I mean, the Canucks and Tocchet believe in Joshua, but I think they just try to give him, a kick in the ass, for lack of a better term, to, get in shape and, fight for the spot, because Niels Amon and Jack Studnicka came ready to fight.
They came ready to fight. And remember, as much as we emphasize the importance of this season, right? Because so many things are on the line. Like it's not about the reputation of the team, because the reputation of the team is at the bottom. It's more about keeping this group together so you don't have to look elsewhere to find a solution. You got to believe that Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko are a part of the solution. But if things don't go right this year, they have to kind of bring in other pieces. It's just the way it is. We'll get into this probably before the season starts. Like, what's the worst case of this team? And we'll dive into like what a bad season for this team could look like. This all being said, I think it's really important that this time around, though, because we have to think about the long-term vision. The Canucks are not winning the Stanley Cup. Even if everything goes right, the Canucks are not winning the Stanley Cup this year. But the long-term goals of this team, they have to line up with that. And this is a great thing that Tocchet is doing. It's coming at the expense of being maybe a less sexier team. Again, no Podkolzin, possibly no Joshua, but here's Amon and Studnicka getting a job. No Archie Bains. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a sexier lineup available here, but they chose to give it to the people who came to camp at the best shape. And Nikita Horose, same thing. Like, I'm not saying he didn't show up in the best shape. He seems like a smart guy, a wise guy, a true pro, but they wanted more, and more is needed, especially in those bottom positions if you want to make the Vancouver Canucks. And this is a message that Tocchet is sending to guys like Archdeep and Podkolzin and etc. going into next season. It's going to take a lot to make the Canucks. You really got to do the most. And just to see how much Niels Amon has been given here, just based on fitness and just being, I guess, an intelligent player, bringing some intangibles to the game, and ultimately having him over Dakota Joshua is alarming, because you got to go back to the point. It's not a sexier lineup. Dakota brings you more, but Amon showed up in better shape, and it's a testament to how things have to be going forward for this team. It's really like a culture shifting type of move, and you kind of make examples of those changes in culture amongst the bottom of your lineup.
Yeah, 100%. And you touched on some of my surprises there too. Like, Akito Hirose is a guy I mentioned in my 7 biggest surprises. Like, the fact that he kind of faded out of the spotlight when everyone thought he was a roster dark horse. Let me touch on one surprise here quick, then we'll cut to break and wrap up here on Locked On Canucks. Jack Rathbone, he was just kind of nowhere to be seen. Like, I threw out one stat in my article. Jack Rathbone played 9 preseason games for the Canucks over the past 2 years. This season, he played 1. He played in 1 preseason game. He wasn't really even on this team's radar. It didn't even seem like a consideration as part of that spot, even though, arguably based on his track record, he could have the highest ceiling. Are you surprised at all that Jack Rathbone didn't even come close to competing for a roster spot?
I'm not surprised at all. Next question, okay? Come on. Come on. Okay, but who are the final cuts, though? Like, okay, so before we get to the third segment, okay? Noel Juleson, etc., Cole McWard. Okay, so don't you believe that based on Saturday's performance from Cole, that one of those other guys are going to get a shot with Quinn again, just because there's 2 preseason games left and there's some room here? Like, do you feel like that's possible? Like maybe they sit Cole out or whatever, and like Ian Cole out just to get both those guys in the lineup, and then kind of give them a turn with Quinn. Like, is it a guarantee that Cole McWard's at that top unit? And you get what I'm saying? Like, who's making the final cut?
Yeah, and I think we'll give our predictions on that on the other side. I will say in terms of the Canucks' last 2 preseason games, I do think Juleson gets in again. I think they'll give him another crack there. I think they'll give Susie another shot as well. Like those have been the 3 guys competing for the spot. So I do think Susie, McWard, and Juleson might all get some playing time with Hughes over the next 2 Canucks preseason games. But Kyle, you know what? Let me tell you, okay? Passion, drive, and patience is what brings home the winning trophy, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors, they got everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. Whoa. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
Okay. We back, baby. Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every day. Doing our thing. Moving and grooving. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan.
Ignoring my wife's call for the people because I care about the listener here on Locked On Canucks.
Trevor, man. Dude, if my girl ever calls me during an episode of Locked On Canucks, I'm not picking up either, dude. No chance. Unbelievable. You guys hear that?
Yeah, the show's almost done according to my watch, so it's all good.
You guys got to subscribe just for that, man. Ignoring the loves of our lives just to do this show for the people. Because let's be honest, let's be real, people. Who was our first love? Who was our first love? Not our girls. Not the mother of our children. The Vancouver Canucks. And you got to stay loyal to that. I F with that, Trevor. I was going to swear there, but I don't have the time to edit today, okay? No comment corner. No comment corner.
We're not going to do that. I'm going to ask you a lighthearted question here.
Okay.
Let's
Trevor's trivia starts now.
Okay.
I haven't dropped it in a while. My last preseason surprise includes my new favorite Canuck. Can you guess what Canuck that is? What surprise I'm talking about? What's the last preseason surprise on my list?
Dude, I brought it up. Man. I can feel the energy within our souls, man. For real, okay? You and I, journeymen in this thing called our lives, okay? We've been here for a while. We've been doing it. We've been doing this thing called Canucks Conversation, Canucks Talk, our own way. And we've taken the long road. And because of that, I got to connect this answer to your answer to that question. And that's Phil Giuseppe, right?
Yeah, let's go. Phil Giuseppe, my new favorite Canuck. I'm telling you, man. I think my one of my favorite Canucks of all time is Alex Burrows. I'm getting some serious Alex Burrows vibes from Phil Giuseppe right now. Not the most talented guy in the world, but he works his ass off every shift, okay? I'm loving what PGG's putting down. For a while there, I wasn't buying this guy playing in the top 6. He's just a fill-in. They're going to have better players up there. I'm starting to buy into the hype, man. After seeing Phil Giuseppe's performance on Saturday versus the Edmonton Oilers, he was one of the best guys on the ice. He was everywhere, okay? Phil Giuseppe in the top 6. It's an idea I'm warming up to, and maybe, just maybe, this guy has maybe like a little bit of Alex Burrows magic in him, He's taking
Why'd you do your hands like that? Why'd you do your hands like that?
Guy. Let's go.
If you're on YouTube side, Trevor did the Italian thing with his hands, dude. It's 2023. What you do? You did this thing right here, right?
No, I did like the money thing because this guy's making league minimum. He's making league minimum. I think he's gonna get a bit of a raise if he has a season for the Canucks here.
I like it. I like what you're saying here. And again, not the sexiest pick. Okay, we're going into the season. We want Höglander in the top 6, Podkolzin in the top 6. We want all these things to happen, right? The guys that the Canucks drafted in 2019 to finally prevail and do the most this season. But here we go. picking the journeyman to ride alongside our $8 million second line center, and that's going to get us over the hump. No,
Hey,
I want to ask you a serious question, okay? I want to ask you a serious question because, again, part-time reporter for the Daily Hive, Trevor Beggs, living a blessed life. Dude, this guy went to a lot of games last year, okay? So you watched some of this dude. Can you just say more about him? Don't just compare him to Burrows. Like, just talk about the traits because I want you to feed my Giuseppe ego right here, okay? Talk more about this guy and what this guy brings to the table, and
I think
ultimately, like, what you see him doing with a guy like JT Miller.
I think Phil Giuseppe has always had the defensive foundation in his game. I mean, analytically, going back to his days with Carolina and New York, he was always statistically a really good 200-foot player, and I think you see that in his game with the Canucks. This guy's not lazy on the back check. He's not getting caught out of position. He's hard to play against in his own end. And he's a relentless forechecker in the neutral zone too, or in the offensive zone. I think that's why Rick Tocchet really likes him, because you see this guy's got no quit on every shift. Like, he sets the bar. He sets the bar, man. Probably skill wise, maybe not the most talented guy in the world, but
yes,
I don't know, man. I'm liking more and more for what I'm seeing from Philly Giuseppe, and this guy is forced his way into the Canucks top 6. It's they got options, right? They got Beauvillier, they got Garland, they could try Podkolzin. There's Mackay when he comes back, but I don't know. I think they would like Phil Giuseppe on that second line, which is crazy to think about. And I mentioned throwing up the money sign about this guy making more money. This guy just signed a 2-year extension, make it league minimum for the next 2 seasons. If this guy can break through and be like a quasi top 6 forward and make it league minimum, this team is going to be in a damn good spot.
There you go, man. We don't need freaking Podkolzin to develop. We need this guy, dude, the Italian stallion. We need this guy to develop. Okay, the Godfather. The Godfather at league minimum for 2 years. I like the way you're thinking, bro. I like the way you're thinking now, man. That's the economics in you, man. That's the finance in you. Okay, I get what you're doing here. Let's put that out there. Let's get the most out of the guy that is at least showing a level of compete, and he's done that every game that he's played for the Vancouver Canucks. Again, not a sexy guy, because I think when we see guys like this get those top 6 spots, we're like, really, guys? It's 2023 and like this is the best we got. Didn't we just draft Höglander in 2019? Didn't we just draft Lekaramaki? Didn't we just draft Podkolzin? Like, can we see that? But then boom, you pull off one of these things and it's like, yo, can this guy be the next Brandon Rust, or what's his name, Brian Rust or whatever? Can this guy be
Brian Rust? Yeah, there you go. Oh,
hey man, I'm a little rusty here, man. It's a Monday, man. I had a rough weekend. Okay, I already told you why. Okay, I'm doing my best out here.
Yeah, it's all good. We appreciate you being here. Before we get out of here, let's predict the Canucks' final cut, because they got to make at least one more cut. So as I'm looking at the roster,
F that, bro. I want to predict Giuseppe's year, man. Let's put it 82 games. I'm predicting 22 goals and 17 assists.
22 goals and 17 assists.
Yeah.
So 30,
dude, he's playing with JT
points.
Miller, though. You got to admit, like, yo, come on, bro. If he's banging in some rebounds, come on. Predict it. Let screw the final cut, man. What are this guy's numbers? And let's get out of here, okay?
All right, let's see. See, he had 6 goals, 12 points, 30 games last year. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna go 14 goals, 21 assists for 37 points if he sticks around for close to a full 82 games. Which again is not top 6 numbers, man. But prove me wrong, Giuseppe. Go be a half point a game guy, all right? Come on, do it for the Vancouver Canucks. I do got to tell you quick. I have it up here. Okay, the final cut. There are 9 defensemen on the roster right now. It's between like Guillaume Brisebois, Noah Juleson, and Christian Wolanin in terms of who's going to get cut. I feel like it's going to be Christian Wolanin. I think they like Brisebois a lot, even though he hasn't had a good preseason. I think Juleson has played the worst of the 3, but he's right shot, so I think they keep him around. If the Canucks who got to make one more cut, I think it's going to be Christian Wolanin. But 2 more preseason games to figure it out. But until then, we got to get out of here. Kyle, anything else to say to the people before we go?
Dude, remember, if you're on YouTube, I'm going to play that video right at the end of this video of me and Trevor doing push-ups yesterday, okay? Because we keep our promise, okay? New Canucks every day. And what did I say there? Oh, your Canucks every day. My bad. Again, it's Monday. I'm rusty. But we did do the push-ups, okay? We did the push-ups. I'm going to show you at the end of this video after Trevor does his outro. Hey, man, I apologize for my effort, okay? Today's episode was so sloppy on my regard. Didn't even do Komment Korner. But you know what? I'm just a man who's been dealing with it. And if you look into my eyes, you already know what I've been dealing with, okay? We've all been there. And man, oh man, what do you do with women, man? Tell me, man.
Yeah, no, Kyle's being way too hard on himself. So the listener, give Kyle some love or not in the comments. You'll love her or hate us. Go Canucks, go. I mean, part of the reason there's no Komment Korner is because I was late because I'm on single dad duty. My wife's out of town. It's a stat holiday. It's just me and my daughter here. But she went down for a little snooze or some playtime or something while I'm recording Locked On Canucks for you. But we got to get out of here because I got to go see my daughter. Kyle's got to go live his life. So we appreciate you, the everyday or the occasional listener. No matter where you are, who you are, we appreciate you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. We got more of the Final Cut countdown coming up this week and a little season preview, baby, because guess what? The puck drops for real next Wednesday. But until then, I'm Trevor Beggs, that guy's Kyle Bhawan, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Trevor came here to do the push-ups, and this guy's wearing the tank. I love it, man. Come on, man. No body shaming, you know?
Yeah, all right.
I'm not going to count. I'm going to count. I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. People hate my voice, so I'm just going to put a digital counter right here, okay? I'm getting the shots right here, man. Yo, Trevor, you bagging them out, dude. We weren't joking. Dude. Holy crap. Dude. Bro, you never told me you were doing push-ups, man. Yo, full range of motion. This guy's a dad too, man. Carrying babies all day, man. Whoo! Babies and yo, this guy went to the end, bro. Relax, bro. You don't gotta pull a muscle, man. You got a family, dude. I didn't count. I'm gonna trust
50,
you.
50.
You did 50?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm proud of you, man.
I thought about stopping at 43, but
Dude, yo, you went in like you're gonna hurt yourself. Actually, man. I was like, dude, you got a family, dude.
they'll be okay.
Holy, bro. Okay, sick,
Oh, man.
There you go, man. Locked On Canucks, man. We do it for the people, man. Gotta put it out there, man.
There we go.
Okay, let's go, man. This is the workout for the day, man. Okay.
Yeah, flex bound, man. Let's see. There we go. Oh, man. Well, you're past 9 and 6, so did it for Miller and Besser. You got to get to Pettersson and Hughes, man. That's the goal. Woo! Putting the Canucks on your back, buddy. Do it for Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, for Tocchet, man.
Do it for Tocchet.
Yo, what's the quote, man?
Don't be like Akito Hirose.
Walk it like you talk it, right?
Walk it like you talk
Yo,
it.
put that on a shirt. I'm struggling here, boys.
You got it, man. You put Locked On Canucks on your back, man. You can do this too. Flex the titties. Oh.
How much did I get to, man? I don't know.
Oh, I lost count.
We're not gonna have to count, man.